A driver hits my truck, refused to get insurance involved, wasting my time, and being difficult. Enjoy the butthole tax. Hello readers. I'm posting this here because for the time being, I believe that this is the correct thread. But if anyone thinks it belongs to other threads, please let me know. Thank you. This happened just a week ago. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and I was on off-duty mode since the day before, so I was stationary the whole time. While I was in my bed trying to sleep, I suddenly heard a loud crunch, following by a pretty rough rocking of my truck. When I got out and checked, I saw a truck trying to park on the left spot and struck me on his blind spot, right side of his trailer. The damage was, my driver's side mirror was folded, and there are cracks on my left quarter fender. The driver got out, checked the damage for both my truck and his trailer. I told him that I will need his registration, driver's license, and insurance, the whole 9 yards. At first, he was a little hesitant to give the information, but ended up following the rules. I did the same for him. Then, he proceeds to tell me that he would prefer to pay the damage in cash or check. The reason was, if insurance was involved, his company would charge him $2,500 automatically, so it's a huge loss for him. Even though I don't agree with that and still think insurance is better, I comply and talk to my manager about the whole situation. At first, he wanted to claim through insurance too, but after seeing the damage, it was very minor. He settled and told me to charge the driver $1,200 if he wants to pay cash or check. I told the driver what my manager thinks the cost of the repair is. He was more hesitant than when I asked for his information, so I told him it's either $1,200 or insurance. Then he got this bright idea to try to get evaluations from the professional in the nearby shop for the cost of parts and labor. He even tried to fix my side mirror, which to my surprise was fixed. Okay, so no need to replace the side mirror, but the fender is still cracked, so that needed to be fixed. His reason to get professional evaluation is so he can get a receipt for tax purposes, so it's understandable. I told him that I will need to leave in 4 hours, which is true, so I won't have all day to sit around in the mechanic shop. Not to mention I didn't get much sleep since I need to take care of the damage. He was very assuring that it will be very quick. It won't. Shortest time I've ever been in a shop is 8 hours. So I comply. We drove to the nearest shop, which is 30 minutes away. Inside the truck, he kept saying that $1,200 is too much to fix a fender. I didn't say anything in retaliation because I actually do not know how much it costs to fix a fender. I just trusted my manager. When we arrive, the tech said that he can't fix the truck within 3 hours. It was fairly busy. So we asked if we can just get an evaluation for the cost of parts and labor, which the tech said that he can do. After 1 hour, the tech came out and gave us a piece of paper for the evaluation. The total came out to be $1,440 for parts and labor, not including paint job, which is around $400. He was shocked, thinking that he got ripped off by the evaluation. He complained a whole bunch to the tech, but there's nothing the tech can do about it. He asked for their evaluation. He got evaluation. Then, he went back to me and asked if he can still go back to the $1,200 cost. I told him, but I thought you wanted to get a receipt for evaluation done by a professional. To say he was stunned was an understatement. He kept making up excuses about the cost, but again, I repeated, either this or insurance. He finally complied and wrote me a check for $1,440. After we parted ways, I mentioned to him, remember to keep your words for the paint job. If not, my manager will claim the damage as a hit and run. He looked at me with the dirtiest look he could muster, but he couldn't do anything about it. Oh well, at least he got his receipt. Edit 1. For those who mentioned that I might get burned with cash or check, I actually didn't think of this at first, but that was a very good lesson. Nonetheless, the driver paid me with money order because he couldn't withdraw $1,440 in cash from ATM, and he doesn't bring his checkbook. I guess it's more secure since there's no way money order could bounce. Also, I have all of his information and proof of accident from the parking lot camera. In case he tried to pull anything funny, we can just dial insurance and reveal everything. Edit 2. I didn't know there's a whole subreddit for r/butthole tax. I will gladly give that a visit. Thank you for letting me know. Sounds like a very fun page. Just give the weekly deal? Okay. First time poster here. Sorry for the formatting. I'm on mobile. The background. Many moons ago, I worked at a pizza place, part of a national franchise in a diverse community. It was my first job, and I enjoyed it, though mostly, it was the satisfaction of having my first job. I worked inside taking orders and making them. After a few days, I was in an odd space. You see, I was new enough to not have a solid handle on everything, but I was there long enough that the manager expected me to be able to do everything already. So, when I kept taking too long recording orders, my manager began getting frustrated. I was only supposed to be taking 3 minutes at most, but I often went over 5 minutes over the phone. Remember how I said we were a diverse community? Many customers had issues speaking English, and even though I was bilingual, there were half a dozen languages being spoken here. Some were new to ordering pizza too. Some were just indecisive. As a result, a lot of time was spent speaking slower than usual, explaining everything in detail, or waiting for them to decide. I understood, but my manager was upset at my inefficiency and didn't want to hear it. Malicious compliance is set up. One day, I got a call and spent 7 minutes explaining everything to a guy who was new to ordering over the phone in general, going over deals, toppings, menu items, prices, etc. He had a lot of questions. He also spoke English as a second language, so sometimes he did not understand what some words meant. Not only that, but he was out of the area I had to explain that to, so he decided to come pick it up. He thanked me for being understanding and placed his order. I even got a tip for being patient when he came to pick it up. My manager, meanwhile, was mad. This was messing up her metrics too, so she scolded me for taking so long. I explained the sheer amount of questions he had and barriers, and noted that I wasn't quiet at any moment and kept amending the order. She wouldn't listen and told me it shouldn't take that long. Just give them the deals. That's usually enough. Cue malicious compliance. Just give them the specials. Okay. We were running a special all week. Buy one large 5 topping for a steep discount, except for the special pizzas which came with specific toppings. For example, the veggie pizza or Philly cheesesteak pizza which have specific toppings, those were exempt despite most having 5 toppings or less. It was arbitrary, but I followed orders and just gave them the deals anyways, even if it meant sidestepping this. So whenever a customer called ordering a special pizza, I would just put it in as a custom pizza that just so happened to have the same toppings as a special, but didn't have the name attached. Therefore, everyone got a steep discount. Some customers were surprised, since they were told the deal didn't apply to the specials, but it was an arbitrary rule anyways, so they weren't keen on arguing. Since they were saving money, the indecisive ones decided to just get both sometimes, so calls were quicker. Cheap pizza all around. The manager noticed and got mad at me, arguing that I was just stealing from myself for missing out on the profits. Whatever, I thought. I get paid hourly regardless of your profits. I just told her I was just giving them the deals, but the system wouldn't let me. She knew something was up, but just told me the special pizzas don't apply, even if they have 5 toppings or less. The fallout. A few days later, the deal was removed, and I was on thin ice, but we got a nice increase in customers who kept trying to take advantage of the deal. The increase in sales helped offset the large dip in revenue from me liberally providing discounts. Even when I told them that the manager specifically reaffirmed the special pizzas don't apply, they understood that it was too good to last and just ordered anyways. Also, a customer called who was extremely indecisive and curious about our deals. He also had poor English that made certain requests rather confusing to understand. I spent 5 minutes on the phone until the manager told me to just pass her the phone and she'd handle it. I did as I was told and just made pizzas and handled other tasks. I noticed she wouldn't help me, and every time I looked back she would be on the phone. Turned out the guy was on the phone for 20 minutes asking questions and being indecisive, and in the end ordered nothing. After that, she began being more understanding of me. Contact my boss while they are out. Okay, this was removed before, so hopefully I fixed the issue. Enjoy. This is my first post. I've enjoyed this sub for a while and finally have my own minor story to share. I'm on mobile, but will try to format it correctly. Also, I'm keeping things purposefully vague, so the real people remain anonymous, even though I doubt this will really be seen by many. Okay, story time. I work in a customer service based role, though my job does entail other tasks not customer facing. Customers have accounts with my company and I'm able to access and view many account details. We have a customer who always demands to speak with my boss. She doesn't like talking to myself or the other lowly peons who can't possibly know anything or assist her. I have had past occurrences with this customer to already have her on my list of crazes, though granted she isn't the highest person or even in the top 3. My office opens at 9 AM and I have yet to be proven wrong that whenever the phone rings right at opening it will not be a good / fun / pleasant conversation. The clock strikes 9:04 AM and the phone rings. I take a deep breath and prepare myself for a myriad of potential issues I'm about to hear. A shrill voice, one I recognize immediately, is on the other end. But I still give my typical cheery greeting. Shrill voice, I need to speak to boss's name right now. It's very important. It's about my account. Me. Oh, boss's name isn't in today. They will be back tomorrow. Is there anything I can help you with? Shrill voice, no, only they can help me. It's about my account. I have to speak with them. It's very urgent. It's about my account. Please don't read that in a sweet, concerned tone. It very much was not. Me. Well, they are out of the office today, but I can let them know you called, and they can call you back when they are back in tomorrow. Shrill voice, that is unacceptable. I have to talk to them today. I know you have contact information and can get in touch with them. You need to contact them and have them get in touch with me today. Now I need to pause because that part, the part you just read, is what really pissed me off. Never mind the extremely rude and disrespectful tone I was hearing. I deal with that. Anyone does when you're in customer service. But how dare you say it is unacceptable for someone to be out of the office because you need to talk to them. You have no idea why they took a day off. It's none of your business, but you still have no idea if someone died, if they are violently ill, if they are taking a much needed and well deserved vacation, and you want me to disrupt any one of those possible scenarios because you need to talk to them about your account? Nah hon. I don't think so. Okay, back to the story. Me, wheels already turning about how to comply. Well, I can try to reach out, but again, they are not here today, and I cannot promise they will get in touch today. May I have your name and account number? Shrill voice states their name, which I already knew, and instead of their account number, which I also knew, but wanted to confirm, she provides her phone number, because obviously I'm going to immediately do as she demanded. I pointedly ask again for the account number, and she provides it. She again states that she must talk to my boss and they need to call her today, and says goodbye, and then hangs up on me. I have a few pet peeves, some minor and some not, and she hit almost all of them during that conversation. So I did as she asked and contacted my boss. I texted them about a different matter altogether, and had a lovely little text conversation, never mentioning Shrill voice and her demands. I did send my boss an email letting them know that Shrill voice had called and her demands, but it was about an hour or two after the initial call from her. I did not mark the email as anything special, and my boss has been out of the office for 3 days, so it will be lost in the sea of emails my boss will come back to. When my boss gets to the email, they can then reach out to her. Also, fun little speculation on my part, I'm almost positive I know what this customer was calling about, because again, I can see her account information and I could have helped answer her questions right then. Hope you enjoyed this little story. I know it is minor compared to others I have seen, but it was something that happened that made me think I finally had a story to share. You want me to do a worse job intentionally? Okay. I work in IT, and my first job was a tier 1 tech support agent for a call center. Our company had contracts with a lot of smaller ISPs and we would take a high volume of calls for various types of issues depending on who called in. For me, 40 calls in a day was pretty normal. Unlike most people, who were just reading a script and collecting a check, I always had a vested interest in technology and also held some IT certifications, which was not the norm here. I was really good at solving technical problems for customers and worked really hard. After working there for a few months, management decided they wanted to start micromanaging the heck out of people and made up tons of strict metrics that they thought sounded good but were not backed by actual data to implement. One of their metrics is they wanted people to target a 12-minute call time with the customer, and anything over 20 minutes was really bad. That sounds reasonable, but they did not account for people who were really good at their job and resolved a lot of issues. My call times would fluctuate between 6 to 7 minutes because again I was skilled at problem solving in this area and I resolved all of the customer issues I could. It turns out that people who had under 9-minute call times would lose points on their rating because it was so much under the average. So my scores in the spreadsheet were failing because I was too fast. My supervisor was scored on his agent's performances, so his score was also really bad due to the fact I was good at my job and scoring a 0 every week for average handle time. The contracts we had with these companies we supported paid out to our company based on things like tickets created, issues resolved, number of calls, etc. So I was essentially making the company 2-3x as much as a slow agent per night I clocked into work. However, because of our amazing performance rating system, my ability to do my job well was hurting both my score and my supervisor's score and getting both of us in trouble. They had a team of a couple leads listen to all of my calls to figure out what I was cheating on or not doing. That was in the process for our clients to make my call time so short. But I had everything I was supposed to in all of my tickets and was resolving issues, so they found nothing. When we had our weekly one-on-one meeting after this had been going on for a couple weeks, my supervisor specifically told me that he wanted me to do a worse job from this point forward because it would help both of us. He wanted me to add in random small talk, resolve things slower, and type up my tickets slower. At first I was in disbelief and attempted to argue this, but then I was like, okay, if that's really what you want I can do it. So that night I talked to random customers about Destiny 2 and other nonsense and made the company less money because that's exactly what they wanted. And what do you know? I never got in trouble for call times again. Move your car. Lol. Okay. I'm a 19F, daughter of my normally very nice parents. We had new neighbors move in about 2 years ago, and for the most part, we've just left them be. They're a little annoying sometimes and there were a couple instances where we had to complain about the overwhelming noise of their weekend parties at night, but other than that they're pretty okay neighbors. We've never had a problem with them until recently after several strikes against my family. Strike 1, destructive dogs. So our neighbor's family and my family owns dogs. My dogs are very gentle and spend most of their time indoors. We live in Southern California, and when this incident happened it was in the middle of summer, so we let our dogs stay inside to keep cool. Their dogs are very aggressive and are raised as outside dogs. Every time I'll let my dogs out in the backyard for some fresh air, my neighbor's dogs will attempt to break through the wooden fence dividing our properties via digging, climbing, scratching, etc. The digging was easy to stop, we just filled in the holes with dirt. But at some point their dog managed to create a hole in the wall large enough for their dog to squeeze their face in, so about the size of a dinner plate. We have cameras, so we caught everything on tape. My parents are pretty understanding, so my dad went and talked to my neighbors offering to pay half of the damage, since it's our shared property line. The neighbor's wife, who we are going to call Lying Sally for this story, called my dad a liar and accused our dogs of damaging the fence, which we knew wasn't true, and my dad told her we had proof it was her dogs and demanded that my family pay for the damages. They fought over it and nothing got solved, so eventually my dad conceded and nailed some plywood over the gaping hole. Problem solved. But this was only the first strike. Strike 2. Just why? The next incident is honestly really stupid, and I don't even know why Lying Sally bothered lying. So this incident happened about a few days after we had to call our third noise complaint on one of their parties again. Like, seriously, the blasts let it go at 10:30 p.m. at night. I wish I was making this up. My mom is getting out of her car in our driveway when lying Sally walks right up to her and accuses her of yelling at their lawn mowing guy to not mow their lawn so loudly at 7:30 a.m. My mom was very confused. She's never talked to the guy who comes over to mow their lawn. We've never cared about any of our neighborhood's business in general. For frick's sake, we have a neighbor across the street who revs his motorcycle at 6 a.m. and another neighbor who does construction stuff in his garage for a hobby. My family has been living here for almost 20 years. We are very chill with our neighbors' loud and noisy hobbies normally. Long story short, my mom confronted the lawnmower guy one morning and asked him if she's ever talked to him before, and he told her no. Lying Sally saw this and ran out of the house to confront my mom. She screams, "Why are you talking to him for?" And so my mom replies, "Because you're a lying witch." And so that's the gist of it. I don't know why lying Sally even bothered lying about that. At this point, we were convinced lying Sally was a nutcase. Strike 3, the point where I finally stepped in. For the past month, my neighbors have stooped to a new low by hogging all of the parking space in front of our house whenever they get the opportunity. My family has 3 cars, 2 usually sit in our driveway and the third is parked curbside in front of our house. My neighbors have 2 cars, both of which they park alongside the curb in front of both of our houses. The curb our houses share is only big enough for 2 cars. They've stopped using their driveway entirely just to park their 2 cars on the curb, which forces us to park our third car further down the street. It's not a big deal, but what they were doing was petty, so my parents became petty too. The moment they would move their cars to go to work, my parents would move our third car back into its spot on our half of the curb. This went on for almost an entire year until at some point an unspoken truce was made and they stopped their petty scheme. Things returned back to normal until I accidentally fricked it up. In my defense, I was driving home with the third car late at night. It's dark. I accidentally back up way too far and park the car smack dab in the middle of the curb, so my car is literally in the middle between our houses. I'm tired from working all day, so I don't think much of it, since a neighbor still has a whole entire driveway to themselves. Trust me, their driveway is just like ours. It is made to fit 2 cars. The next morning, I wake up to the sound of my parents arguing downstairs. Turns out, our neighbors have parked one of their cars on their driveway, and the other one is parked in front of our third car on our side of the curb. This wouldn't be a problem if one half of the hood of their car wasn't sticking out into our driveway. The problem with this is that if we tried to back out the car, the one closest to their car, in our driveway, we might hit their car, and I'm pretty sure that was the purpose. I was done with their games, so I marched over next door and rang their doorbell. The husband, we'll call him Pig for this story, opens the door and he's recording me as if I'm going to attack him. Which is ridiculous. I'm 5 feet 2 inches and he's close to 6 feet 0 inches. If anything, I should be the scared one. The conversation goes like this. Me, is it okay if you can move your car? Pig, no. The police told me I can park anywhere I want because it's a public road and they even told me I can record you. Me, I don't even care about you recording me. I just need you to move your car. You have an entire driveway to yourself. It's just common courtesy to not block your neighbor's car into their driveway. Pig, you guys can still get out. It's not that bad. Me, oh yeah, but we just don't want to hit your car by accident while backing out. Pig, is that a threat? Me, oh no. I'm just saying that we don't want to pay for the damage of your car because you didn't want to move it. And I can't guarantee that we won't hit it. It's pretty damn close. Pig, I don't care. I shouldn't have to move my car. You move your car. I realized I wasn't going to get anywhere, so I let him slam the door in my face and I walked away. I went back inside my house and got on my laptop to make sure that, yes, it is indeed illegal to park in front of someone's driveway, even partially. So my neighbor does have to move, by law. However, I wanted to be a petty witch, so I moved my car. I grabbed my car keys and carefully backed up the car, again, the one closest to his poorly parked car, so that the back half is inches away from the front of Pig's car. So my car is now blocking Pig's car from pulling out into the street and leaving. My car is also blocking the sidewalk, which I know is illegal, but I already had this planned out. Basically, I caged in his car and held it hostage for a couple days. Here's the setup shown in this diagram. Either Pig or Lying Sally would have to come and apologize to make me move the car, which I knew was very unlikely, or part 4, victory. Sure enough, as I predicted, Pig called the cops a few days later and reported my butt. His face was so smug as the officer told me that I can't legally box in someone's car like that and block the sidewalk with my vehicle. I told the officer that I understood and that I'll move my car, but I immediately pointed out that it's illegal to partially block the entrance point to someone's driveway as well, and that Pig's car is crossing that line by over 2 feet. The smile on Pig's face vanishes and his face turns red, while the officer tells him that he's going to have to move his car as well. So I back up my car, and I'm grinning like a cat who's caught its prey, while Pig has to move his car into his driveway. I also made sure to move our third car back into its rightful spot as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell. Have a beautiful rest of your day.